Okay, models, so we're up to the point now on our little BanDai X-Wing here. This is supposed to be Poe's X-Wing, but there's a few options there for different droids and that, so I mean you can sort of build it as to, you know, just a normal X-Wing if you want to. Which I'm going to do, I don't want to sort of do like a generic Poe's X-Wing, which means you've got to have the little droid in the back there, BB-8 or whatever he is. And I've actually got a different little droid, yes, I'll put him in there so you can see him. So he's a little bit different, and the pilot, which I've got sort of, while he's half painted, he's not fully painted yet. But I've got to say, with this kit, it's probably the best kit I've ever built as far as fitting and all that sort of thing. It just, the thing just fell together. As you probably would have seen the previews to this with me putting parts together, they just go pop and they're in. It's been the most beautiful build I've ever done. I think anything I've ever built from BanDai has been the same. I do the big Gundam robots and stuff like that as well, and they've always been the same. Just beautifully, they just go together beautifully. And then you've got all the moving parts, like, you know, your wings spread out. The other great thing is you've got the option where you can put it on a base, which is the base I've done up. It's going to be over water. Or you've got legs, you can have it sitting on, you know, sitting on the ground with the canopy open or closed. So you've got all those options of that. Just with the base, while I've got it in picture there, the way I've done that, I've sprayed that with a Mr. Hobby. I'll just pull it out so you can see the colour, if I can find it again. I think that's the one. Just give me a second, guys. I'll pull out, definitely make sure I've got the right colour here. There it is. This guy here, which is the, it's just blue, okay, from Mr. Hobby Colours. And what I've done, I've just sort of sprayed the whole thing with a really light mist. Then I've gone down into in between the waves. I'll put down like the deep colour. I've kept over spraying till I've got a nice deep blue in there. Then I've put mist coats over it until it's sort of covered the whole thing nicely. And then all I've done is put a clear coat of Johnson Long Life or Future. You guys in America use Future, anything like that. I've put like a good coat, like 3 coats of that over there to make it look like wet, so it's like water. I probably will put on the tops of the waves. I'll do a bit of dry brushing later on when the Johnson's clear has actually dried off. I'll do a bit of dry brushing over the top of those waves, just right on the crest of them, so it just sort of breaks that colour up even more. But as you can see, by putting that clear coat on there, it gives it a nice wet, watery look. So, and I mean, I don't want it to be over realistic. I mean, you can do a lot of different techniques with water and stuff like that, but just as a little simple base for this thing to be hovering above like so, that's fine. That's all I wanted to do. But as far as the build, like I say, absolutely beautiful build. And the point I got up to is what you can do with this kit. As you can see, I sort of left this so it's unpainted. Well, it's got a light mist over it, but there's actually orange inlays, as you would have seen in the build-up, that go into the places where it's orange. And then you got the option with, you can put either stickers or decals on there. So if you had a kid that wanted to build one of these, not a problem. A kid could put one of these together very, very simply. The instructions are very, very basic, very simple. If it's a young child, probably sit there with them just to help them out and all that sort of thing. But really, really easy to build. And you don't even have to paint the thing. All the colours of the plastic suit the parts that are in. All the silver for the jets and all that sort of thing, that's all silver. But at the moment, I'll put a coat over it. Now, the reason I didn't show you just after I put it together is because I do my modelling down in my shed, and it's been raining all morning. And when it rains, the noise is just, it's really loud in here, so I couldn't record. Otherwise, you guys would have heard just a roar in the background. You wouldn't have been able to hear me speak. So what I've done, I've just carried on because I really want to get this build done. So I've carried on to the point where the orange, I've actually sprayed a colour of orange on there. Then I've masked off the sides. As you can probably see on this side here, you can see the masking tape. I've masked off the orange. Now I'm going over and I'm putting the base coat of black. Now I don't want to go just with a glossy black coat. So what I'm doing, I'm using Noto black. It's like a really, really, really dark grey basically. It's like the colour you would use on road tyres, so that it's not pure black. It's more like a rubber black sort of thing. I want to do that. Then I'll go over, I'll do silver and all that sort of thing. All those, I'll pick out all the details by brush mainly. Then I'll put a gloss coat over it, and then we'll go on the decals. But I'm just sort of looking. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the black, as far as maybe I'll fade panels down or whatever. I want this thing to look like it's pretty well used. I even thought about putting some damage on it, you know, like some laser burns or something like that. But I'll see if I'm going to get time to do all that sort of thing, because that's sort of extra work. But I'll see what happens later in the build. But just to let you know at this stage, guys, this is, like I say, probably the best build I've ever had. Like it's gone together beautifully. Everything's movable. Even the cockpit there, like I can take that canopy off. It just pops off there like that, as you can see. Just really easy. Everything is like that. It just pops into place. There's no fit issues at all. The thing is just absolutely beautiful. Like I've had, I mean, I'm a big kid anyway. I love all my Star Wars stuff, and building this, I've been like a big kid, like mucking around, putting the thing together. So it's just been an absolute joy to build. So I can definitely recommend them. Well, I haven't even finished it yet, and I can definitely recommend the kit. They're absolutely gorgeous. But we'll see how we go when we put it together. Just before we go, there was one thing I'm not real overly impressed with, is the figure, the pilot that goes in there. Is very, very ordinary. The moulding's not that great. There's big chunky parts where his hands are and stuff like that. But once he's locked in that canopy, and that's painted up, and you won't see a great deal of him in there anyway. You'll be able to see him through the glass, but you're not going to be able to see too much detail unless you want to have him in there with the canopy flipped open, which you can do, because I'll just show you quickly. That part there comes off really easily, and there's 2 slots in there where that sits. So what you can do, you can pose it open. It's just, Everything's just so simple on this kit. It really is absolutely beautiful stuff. But anyway, guys, I'll keep getting on with this now. I've got to finish off this black base, then I'll go on to trying fading and putting the silver and stuff like that on there. Then I'll turn the camera back on to the next step. Okay, modelers, just please forgive the sound of the air vent running in the background like normal. But I have finished off the Star Wars, the X-Wing, Poe's X-Wing. Now, obviously I haven't built this as Poe's X-Wing. This has been a few different colours and stuff like that. This is a fairly short video because there's really not much to say with the build-up of this thing, because I'll just zoom in a little bit, like so. And as you see, it's actually a really, really nice model. It went together just beautiful. As you see, the clips proceeding up to this, everything just went together just like click, 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 and it just fell together. So this is one of those kits, guys. If you've got kids and they've got any sort of interest in Star Wars or modelling or whatever, this is one of those kits that you really, really should look at, because they, well, all I can say is the best kit I've ever built as far as fit issues. It just, everything just clicked into place. The only issues I really had was the decals on the wings here and stuff like that. I had trouble getting the decals to sort of sit right. They were a little bit too big for what they were supposed to be. So what I've done, that orange, the main orange on the wing there, I actually taped it off and sprayed that. But these decals at the back here, they're actually the decals. That's the only issue I really had with it, because those decals just didn't quite fit where they're supposed to go. But other than that, honestly, everything is absolutely beautiful. And as you've seen, I painted everything else. The silver little nips on the wings here and stuff like that, I painted those. The main reason being there's decals for those, but they quite look right when you do them. So, but yeah, there's not much else I can say, guys. It went together beautiful, and as you can see, just sitting over that base, it really, really looks the part. I'm going to take some still shots of this, just so you get a much better idea of what I ended up with. I didn't go too overboard on the weathering. I've done a little bit. I just wanted to make it look like it was a bit of a used TIE fighter. I forgot to redo the canopy because it actually leaked underneath the mask. I didn't sort of, it was one of those things where, you know, when you're supposed to sort of pin it down with a toothpick and that, I forgot to do that, and it leaked underneath the mask. So I do have to redo that. But other than that, and that's my fault, it's not the kid's fault, that's my fault. So, but other than that, guys, it's a really, really nice kit. Really, really enjoyed doing this. Now, if you're a Star Wars fan, it's one of those things, like, as it goes together, you're getting excited as you see the thing actually go together. And like you can see, you can pose these open and shut and all that sort of stuff. So absolutely beautiful. There's little fine decals can go on there, little silver parts and stuff like that. I hand painted those. You can put clear red parts coming out of the lasers, like on the wings and things like that. You can do all that sort of thing if you want to. They're all in the kit. I didn't worry about doing that. I just want this thing doing a low pass over the water. But that's about it, guys. So just have a look at the stills. And like always, guys, if you like the video, hit that thumbs up down there. If you're not subbed to the channel and you like this video, hit that thumbs up down there. Check all the links out down below as well, guys. I've got a heap of links down there to Facebook and so on. But I really wish I could tell you more, guys, but there's not much more I can tell you. But that's about it. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. And like always, I'll see you in the next one.